What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 60 of Against the Blitz. And it only seems right that we're hitting this 60 milestone mark, if you will. And it's the final episode before the season starts. And it's already pretty much the start of the season for us because we're spending this episode predicting every single game of week one. And I could not be more excited. Like, I feel like we have been doing our best to pump out material that was different, but insightful and fun. And it can be tough sometimes. I think we killed it, to be honest, but we're at a point now where we're going to be spoon fed some stuff to actually talk about. And I could not be more excited. So, Austin, break down the structure. How are you feeling with all this?
So we're basically, like he said, we are going to be predicting the winner of each game. But we're also going to throw in a few other sprinkles to the matchups as well. So we're each going to have one kind of like headlining question, if you will. Something that we are wondering about each game. A big deal, a big question mark about each game. And we're also picking something that we like about each game. Something maybe betting-wise, something fantasy football-wise. But we're looking through the odds. We're looking through the matchups. And we're seeing some player that we think has a good chance to perform well, perform poorly, or a certain line that's just too irresistible not to hit. So I guess I'll start it off because we broke this up. I took the first half, he took the second half. But I guess as you guys are listening to this dropping this on Thursday, we have the Eagles and Cowboys starting us off. And the general idea about this game is that the Eagles are going to just demolish the Cowboys. But my headlining question was, does the Dallas passing attack with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, and Jake Ferguson have enough juice to possibly keep it close?
I think it's possible because if there's one area of the Eagles that can be exposed, it's gonna be their secondary. You know, we saw who could be a potential starting defensive back for Philadelphia and Keely Ringo get kind of shredded by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in a preseason rep, which only means so much. But I think Dallas, in the brightest projection, is going to have to be that version of Cincinnati if they want to keep in football games. So if there was a matchup, a projection for the Cowboys that we could have in our minds that could potentially keep this game close, it is a high-powered, high-octane, explosive passing offense that could potentially just score enough points to keep them in it. I don't think early on, though. I think with Pickens being thrown in the mix, the new play caller and Schottenheimer being around, it probably will take some time to get to that point. So not right away, but if this was a week 14, 15 game, I think I might say differently.
Yeah. Well, speaking of George Pickens, I was taking a peek at his line, and I actually really liked it. Over under 55 and a half yards, receiving yards was his line. And Pickens can get that in one catch. Like, it legitimately just takes one catch and then a slant route, and he's at 60 yards already. And he does that pretty regularly. And he did that as the wide receiver one. So with all the attention that Philly can possibly put on CeeDee Lamb, and they will, like you were saying, the depth of that corner room is not great. I mean, people love Cooper DeJean, but he will never touch George Pickens in a coverage rep. It'll be Ringo. It'll be Ja'Cory Bennett. It'll be whoever they feel comfortable putting on the perimeter outside of Quinyon Mitchell. But I don't trust any of them to completely shut down George Pickens. And if for whatever reason they put Quinyon Mitchell on Pickens, I think that'll open CeeDee Lamb up to like a 200-yard game. So I definitely think George Pickens can reach 56 yards pretty comfortably.
I like it. Yeah, he was, like you said, the kind of player that can smash that in one grab. And it was frustrating for someone like myself who would have, the 62 and a half yard bet, and he would have his 56-yard catch of the game, but then, not be seen for the rest of the game. It's like, oh, first drive, he has a 60-yard grab, but then he dies. It's like, where did George Pickens go? But this is a different offense, a different quarterback, a different everything, which is why everybody is so high on Pickens individually. So I do like that a lot. I have to assume, though, you have the Eagles as your projected winner.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah, I mean, the reason I said Philly was because everyone is just talking about how Philly is just going to boat race them. So the reason I said Dallas has maybe a puncher's chance if the passing attack can get going was just because, like, while it is true, like, I do think that Dallas has potential to keep it close. They have studs on offense. It's just that defense is going to get mowed, like, bad. Unless Mozzie Smith can somehow develop into that first round pick that he was, and the linebacker core of, like, Kenneth Murray can come in behind him and fill those gaps against, the offensive player of the year in Saquon Barkley. Unless that can happen, it's not going to be pretty. And then let alone the pass rushes not getting to Jalen Hurts past the best offensive tackle duo in the NFL and one of the best tackle duos in history. The fact that the Cowboys just lost Micah Parsons, I don't feel good about Philly even getting 2 pressures against Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I might just have to sprinkle on a little anytime touchdown for Jalen Tolbert in garbage time just for tag.
Oh.
I hope he watches
Oh.
this. just so I can at him my winning bet slip after he scores when it's 35 to 14 at the end of the game and they get their second touchdown. Then I can tag.
I think this has a chance to be one of those games where you look back in like 4 years and you're like, wow, that wasn't that bad of a game. But it's really because Philly put up like 40 on them pretty quick, and then Dallas has a good passing offense to kind of come back, make it look like it was interesting. It'll be like 35 to like 25, 24, and it'll look like it was a kind of competitive match. I just don't think it will be, like, strictly from the defensive and offensive fronts of each team. I really don't think that Philly's defense or Dallas's defense has any puncher's chance whatsoever of stopping both A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, Saquon, Hurts rushing ability. Like, I just don't see the avenue for that to happen.
Even if the Eagles' black magic didn't get Landon Dickerson back in time for the first game, which somehow I still don't understand. I thought he was going to miss at least the first week, but he's back. I still don't think it would have made a difference if he was out. So,
I mean, like, maybe Saquon would drop like 8 rushing yards compared to what he's about to go do, but yeah, definitely nothing super dramatic. I can't imagine. And, like, legitimately, they have arguably the best tackle duo in a very, very, very long time. So that does enough, especially when you have like Sam Williams and Dante Fowler as your starting edge rushers right now. So yeah, not a lot to look forward to for Dallas, but I do believe that there are existing holes in Philly's defense that aren't being talked about that I do believe that Dallas's passing offense can exploit. It's just, I feel like Philly is going to exploit their defense so much more.
Yeah, it's just too early in the season to expect Dallas to be at their best yet. That's kind of the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. So I imagine you picked the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's I've never heard a person say Dallas, even Dallas fans at this point. But I think that'll move us on to the Chargers and Chiefs, who are playing on Friday night. Kind of an interesting one to play on a Friday. They're playing in Brazil, which always does throw a weird little wrinkle into your predictions, because those international games always have a weird turn to them. A bunch of people slipping, like, it's a really weird thing. Do you remember in Philly and in Green Bay when people couldn't stop slipping and it was like a legitimate problem for the game? My big question was, and this is something we talked about before, is we predicted that the Chiefs would be able to finally open up their passing offense and let it rip. But can the Chiefs still do that without Rice and Royals in the opening week against a good defensive coordinator and a good defense? I don't know. That was something I was kind of wondering. Or is this just the same Chiefs offense as last season?
I think for the better part of Rice's suspension, they're going to have to play the Chiefs offensive football that we saw last year. I think something that they'll be able to benefit from is Isaiah Pacheco being healthy. I think we saw a lot of short passes, RPOs, that were forcing them into using those type of play calls to be an extension of their run game, because Carson Steele became relatively ineffective. He became untrustworthy with the ball. Kareem Hunt, a 3 yards or bust type of player every single carry, no matter how big the hole is. So if Pacheco is able to come back healthy, I think we might see a little bit more of a rushing attack. And something else we've talked about is the Chargers not really supplementing the loss of Poona Ford up front and whether or not they're going to be able to really stop anybody on the ground this year. And Joey Bosa being gone as well and Khalil Mack being old. So if anything, I think the passing attack, staying on topic, probably isn't what I'm hoping it is early on, but I think it will be made up for with some more rushing efficiency this year.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these two teams, when you look at their quarterbacks, you see two of possibly like the most dynamic passers in the NFL. But it almost feels like this is just going to be a smash mouth running football team because the Chargers also just got a Marion Hampton in the first round. And that's not the kind of investment that you just lightly sprinkle him into the mix. Like he will be a high touch, high volume running back off the bat, especially because Najee Harris had a whole eye issue and has been super questionable up until this point. So that is why I picked a Marion Hampton over 46.5 rushing yards. Because 46.5, like that feels pretty darn low. I mean, I understand that he'll be playing with Najee and he's playing a very good Chiefs run defense, but the Chiefs lost some guys in that defensive tackle room, a lot of good depth that they've been counting on. And I don't think Marion Hampton's just going to escape this game with like 11, 12 carries. Like I think that he could easily get 15, 16, 17 plus carries in his opening night.
I feel like it's going to be one or the other with Hampton, the Hampton and Najee split. It's either going to be Hampton full go, 22 plus carries, maybe a couple catches, or it's going to be like easing him in. Like, oh, Hampton had like 7 or 8 touches and Najee had like 10 or 11, and then everyone's fucking panicking. I feel like it's either one or the other. You would like to think that investing as much as they did in Hampton, that it will be the former. I mean, 46.5 rushing yards on one hand feels like such a smash spot when thinking about like the logistics of what they put into Hampton.
How easy it is to get to 46 rushing yards.
Right. Herbert like one 20-yard rush early on. I mean, and if he gets like 7 more carries, he can get that extra 20 yards. Like it feels oddly low. It's something that maybe Vegas will end up regretting. Like that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I had to double take and like, I had to check my work, and maybe it's changed since, but at the time when I checked it, I was kind of shocked because, I mean, just for a first-round pick in a team that does run the football a lot like they did last season, they pumped J.K. Dobbins the football, and he's never been a guy that's really handled volume. Like, they're not a team that is really, like, I don't think really cared about who gets the football. Like, they just want to give it to the best guy. So I don't think that they're overly concerned about, saving Hampton, starting him off to a slow start. I think they want to pump him the football ASAP. I would have been nervous about this if you asked me like 3 months ago, but because of the whole Najee eye injury, because of the fact that he was a huge questionable to even play in this game, I think that, especially because his vision has been his biggest problem throughout his career as well. And the fact that he literally has physical vision problems now, I think they're going to really struggle to want to give Najee the ball after like a Marion Hampton played the full camp. He's earned his spot. He is the RB1. I think they're going to have a hard time not giving him the football a ton.
Yeah, I don't disagree in the slightest. And looking at the rushing lines now, it is at 46.5 still. And I was maybe thinking because of Hampton's line being kind of suspiciously low that maybe Najee's line would be closer to it, kind of them projecting more of a split, but that's only at 24.5. So interesting. So I think that still would suggest that they think that Hampton's going to get a majority of the work. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a good bet. I like that.
Yeah. But overall, I did predict that the Chiefs will win this game in a defensive battle. I think this is a nitty-gritty Brazil game. They're all tired because of the weird travel issues, and the hotels aren't great over there, as we've learned from the Olympics. So I do believe the Chiefs will win this one. They are just better at winning situational football games than pretty much any team in the league.
Yep. I also had the Chiefs in this one. It just doesn't feel like, overall, when we did our like record predictions and whatever for the AFC, I'm not the highest on the Chargers this year. And I think for a number of reasons, this being their first matchup is a pretty tough one. So yeah, maybe. I know there are some people out there that reminisce about like the Justin Herbert broken rib game where he threaded the needle on 4th and 1, and they're like, "Oh my God, this can happen again." It's I don't know. It's a different team, different offense, and
I'm worried about Herbert, man.
yeah,
Wearing that leg sleeve to go play game night with Madison Beer, like he hasn't been seen without that leg sleeve since like week 2 of last season. He has been wearing that leg sleeve to bed, to the pool. He wears that leg sleeve everywhere. So something's got to be pretty wrong with him, unless he just thinks it looks really cool or he's hiding a tattoo or something from his mom. But yeah, it doesn't look great. And I have no basis for that at all. Like, I have not heard anything medically issued about him. That just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it is. Like, that was the first thing everyone noticed. Like, okay, wait, he's with Madison Beer, but more importantly, why is he wearing a leg sleeve, like just walking outside in the sunlight?
They're about to go play Sorry Sliders. Like, why is he wearing a leg sleeve? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I also do have the Chiefs winning this game, if I didn't say that already. So,
yes.
I think this will be a
very well. That'll be a fun game, a really fun game. And to give you a not fun game, the next team will be the Steelers and the Jets. And my big question about this game is, will either team score a touchdown?
I mean, that is a legitimate question. Like, I sat going through my list of games, and I'm like trying to be as like insightful and deep as I could. And honestly, this one just smashes all of the questions I have because it is so simple yet so good. Like, it's a genuinely good question.
And like the way that I thought about it was each defense is like perfectly designed to stop the opposing offense. Like, how do you stop a rushing quarterback? Have an elite D line and really good edge rushers. How do you stop someone like DK Metcalf? Like a 6'3" Sauce Gardner. Like, how do you stop like the really good tight ends that Pittsburgh has? Hyper athletic converted safety linebackers like Jamie and Sherwood and Quincy Williams. Like, everything about the other team is built perfectly to stop the other one. Like, I don't think that like these teams will score a touchdown. It doesn't, like, I don't see who's going to be doing it unless Calvin Austin takes a screen to the house or like Roman Wilson cooks Michael Carter in the slot. I don't know. Like, this is such a weird game offensively.
It's not my bet, but this game has the lowest over under of any and the only one under 40 points at 38.5. The over is the underdog. The under is favored. And honestly, a special teams touchdown feels like it is imminent in this game.
Yeah, I think that you could see Calvin Austin taking a punt return to the end zone over like a Jalen Warren 16-yard touchdown run. Like, it just feels more likely that Calvin Austin will get a punt return touchdown on red zone. That'll surprise me less than seeing like Caleb Johnson run for like 20-yard touchdown. But I actually did still take the under. I took the under 38.5 total points.
I mean, that's a good bet. That is a good bet.
Even if they score a touchdown, like, they got to still score more points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if these teams score a touchdown, like, there's still a good handful of points that both teams have to score. Like, I don't think the Jets are going to move the football like in this game much. Pittsburgh is like perfectly designed to stop them, and the Jets are pretty damn well designed to stop Pittsburgh. So I ended up predicting the Steelers win this game in a field goal battle. Was my my ultimate prediction. I think Chris Boswell is the fantasy start this week.
Yeah, I mean, he might just be. I also have the Steelers winning this one, and yeah, I mean, this is going to be as ugly as it gets. This could be like Broncos Colts Thursday night. That was the matchup, right? Like how ugly it was like 4 years ago now. Like, or Bears Seahawks, that Thursday night game last year.
Ew, yeah.
Probably the worst game I've seen since that Broncos Colts game. Like, it just is going to be so ugly. The explosiveness isn't there from either side. The downfield passing attack isn't going to be there, I don't think, from either side. Like, it's just, if you like, this is one of those games where the nerds come out on Twitter and they're like, I love this game. Good defense. This is good defensive football. It's like, shut up. This is not good defensive football. This is just bad offense.
It's good defense if you are shutting down a good offense. Like, if like the Rams walk out there and their offense can't move because of the Texans, that's just good defense. But if the Jets can't move and the Steelers can't move, it's because their offenses kind of suck. It's not just because the defense was great. Like, they just can't execute a corner route. Like, it just can't happen. And the Steelers, I don't even know if they could run the ball anymore. So I'm definitely not going to be tuning into that game.
Yeah, that definitely will have the lowest viewership of any game the entire weekend.
Yeah.
That might be my bet. Lowest viewership to Pittsburgh, New York.
Well, my other bet to be the lowest viewership is the Cardinals and the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody is going to tune into this game. And my question wasn't as exciting, but it was, can New Orleans establish any kind of run game? Because we saw it last year. Like, we saw a glimpse of Alvin Kamara finally on track to be an 1,000-yard rusher for the first time in his career. And then he got hurt. And without Spencer Rattler, or with Spencer Rattler in there, you can't ask him to throw the ball 35 plus times a game. So they're going to have to try and run the ball. And I think that's really the only way they can have a prayer of staying in football games with offenses like Arizona. So that's my big question. But I think my answer would probably be no.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really even like in my mind, I do think like a Kellen Moore offense with like a guy like Alvin Kamara seems to fit. But on the same wavelength, when you have a passing attack that will be so inconsistent, so just not threatening, I think there's going to be a lot of loaded boxes. Kamara's old. This is a running back that really doesn't have much burst left. So, and how many hits? Like, he used to have the contact balance of a bull. How many hits can he take now? Like, right. I don't know. And I did see that Kellen Moore said he is going to get a majority of the rushing work. Whether that's true or not, I guess we'll come to find out. But it's going to be a lot on his shoulders because outside of him, Chris Olave is probably going to be dead within 12 snaps. And
so bad.
Devon Vele is there now, sure. Like, what else are we afraid of? Jawan Johnson, like Spencer Rattler with his legs might be the biggest threat in this football game, and that doesn't help the rushing attack in itself.
There's not going to be a more blitzed quarterback in week one than Spencer Rattler. Like, they are going to send the house at him because I think that they finally have such a good secondary in Arizona. They can just trust them now. They can finally trust the guys behind them and just send the house. And they brought in the linebackers to do that with Akeem Davis-Gaither and Cody Simon. Like, they're built kind of how they want to be now. So unless like I think the run game is the only place that Arizona really is vulnerable, which is also partially why I said this, because their linebacker core is so uninspiring from a run defense perspective. But I still don't think they're going to be able to get much traction down there on the ground.
No, not at all. And the biggest thing, like I was kind of alluding to, is a successful rushing attack lives in a balanced offense, and this isn't going to be that. And that's kind of why we have our concerns about Pittsburgh's rushing attack too. Like, it all kind of layers into each other. So, yeah, I just can't see it. Like, poor Saints fans, man.
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we do here?
Well, someone I do think can establish the run will be the Cardinals. Because the Saints run defense is, just team in general is uninspiring, but the run defense, especially with like Brian Brzee getting blown 8 yards off the ball every time, Demario Davis, another guy that's just another year older. I think James Conner will smash his 68.5 rushing yard line. And the only way he doesn't is if they're winning so bad that they pull him and they put Trey Benson in. Because I really do think that James Conner could pretty comfortably touch 100 rushing yards in this game if he gets that like 20, 21 rushing attempts that he usually does handle per game. So that's my line. And my prediction is Cards demolish.
I like it. Yeah. I think the Saints were the only team to give Javonte Williams his only good game of 2024. So like, I don't see how this is an improved defense at all. Yeah, it's just sometimes as simple as it's just simple math. Like, good rushing attack, bad rush defense. What does that equal? Not
a lot of yards.
A lot of yards and not good.
The Sean Tucker game of last season.
Yeah, Sean Tucker. Yeah,
like 180 all-purpose yards and like 3 touchdowns against the Saints. Like, it was disgusting.
We got the Sean Tucker game and the Javonte Williams game against the same defense. And now James Conner gets to
Yes,
see.
James Conner, who is still at age 30, a very, very solid running back that has not shown any signs of slowing down. And Trey Benson wasn't exciting enough really last season to keep James Conner off my field. So I think we got another year of good James Conner football.
I'm excited.
I am too. But a game that I actually am really, really, really excited for is the Raiders versus the Patriots. And my big question about this one was which team comes more prepared with their new squads? Because each team is fully equipped with new weapons, new quarterback for some, new running backs, new defenses across the front. I don't think it's a question of which team is better. I think it's a question of which legendary coach has prepared their new squad the best. And I honestly don't really know.
I don't either. That's a tough one. I think I maybe I'm holding on to like the first 2 drives of the Raiders preseason a little too much, but I just can't get it out of my head because I did look better the following week. But I do want to say that I think I'm going to lean the Patriots will be slightly more prepared. Josh McDaniels has been around a little bit more than Chip Kelly has for the past few years. I think that will play a part. At the end of the day, I think Mike Vrabel is one of those coaches that has always had his team playing above standard every single week, regardless of who is on his roster. So I kind of expect that same grittiness to be applied with this Patriots team right off the bat. And I really don't think I've ever seen. I can't think of a time where I've seen a Mike Vrabel Tennessee Titans team, at least, that looked like bad. Like they were maybe lacking talent, but they were never like,
every time.
yeah, they're always competitive. So I'm going to lean toward New England.
Fair. Yeah, I did predict New England in this game, and I think that overall I did kind of project the Raiders to have a better season overall. But like you said, at home with Drake May already having been there, I think that New England had to establish less pieces. Like a lot of their pieces that they brought in are complementary, like Stephon Diggs and Travion Henderson, but I think the core of the team in Drake May was already there, and that's the really important part. And Geno Smith still has to, establish rapport with all of his receivers. Their defense is far more questionable than the Patriots, in my opinion. And it being at home, I think, was the tiebreaker if there was one, especially in New England. They have a good home squad. So I picked the Patriots. But my big question, not my big start was start Travion Henderson in fantasy. And I put the Raiders do not have a soul on that team that can touch him. Their linebacker core is perfectly built to stop guys like Ramondre, like a Landon Roberts, Jermaine Pratt, these big 250-pound that just thunderbolts. But they don't have a single guy that could touch Travion Henderson in a phone booth. Like if they run one wheel route in man coverage against the Raiders linebacker, it is over with. It is over with. If they run one stretch or pitch play to the outside, I guarantee he has at least 120-yard run this game. Like I really do feel that they don't have a guy designed to stop someone as dynamic as Travion Henderson. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, if Henderson's as involved as everyone is expecting him to be, which excludes me, fuck me, I do think you're very right. Like, it is a matchup nightmare for the Raiders. Like, these are old, not very fast linebackers that are gonna have to keep up with a running back that was one of the most explosive in college. He's going to be one of the most explosive in the NFL. And even if he is running between the tackles, like if he makes one guy miss on the second level, like he's going to be gone. So if he is as involved, like you were saying, as people are thinking he might be, I think that's where they can really get a leg up. And on that same kind of topic, if we look on the other side of the field with the Raiders, they're of course going to be looking to lean into Genty. And I think between Barmore and the addition of Spillane, like I think they're going to struggle to run against this New England defensive front because Spillane was one of the best run defending linebackers in the league last year. They're getting Christian Barmore back inside. So I think they're going to early on have their plans kind of thrown off to try and run the rock every single down and stay on
Yeah.
schedule. So New England's going to try and make them pass.
If I have to make one prediction, I think in an interview in about 8 to 10 years, I think they're going to ask Ashton Genty his welcome to the NFL moment. And he will mention Robert Spillane because what Robert Spillane has done to people, what he did to Derrick Henry, like what he's doing to these powerful running backs in the hole is like it's a legitimate car crash. It is like hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. He is demolishing people in the hole, and Ashton Genty is strong, especially for his size, but Spillane hits way too damn hard, man. Like he's gonna rock him pretty hard. Like he'll send him to the tent at least one time. So Genty's gonna have to come prepared because Robert Spillane is gonna make a lot of New England fans buy some jerseys after this game, but the ones that aren't super familiar with him yet.
Get Ashton Genty. I think he's gonna have to get used to going down maybe a couple times more than he would have in college. Like he already was in the tent once in the preseason because he bounced off a tackle and then someone came down and fucking killed him. Like if you spin off the wrong tackle in the NFL, like you're going to get decapitated. So,
like, I still think Genty will have a great game. Like I think he's going to have an awesome game still, but it's just like I think like from volume alone, but I definitely think he's going to have to change, like you said, change up some of that strategy because overpowering NFL linebackers is far different from overpowering even like the Oregon linebackers. It's a very, very big difference.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
But,
I was
go ahead.
I also have New England in this game for the simple fact that I think the Raiders are going to get thrown off schedule early. I think it's going to be the story of their season. Genty gets stuffed early on in the game, then they have to start throwing more than they want, and I think that's going to be the case for this one too.
Fair. For the next game, this is another game that I'm actually pretty excited for. Tampa and Atlanta. Kind of similar squads. They play in the same division. A lot of the same strengths and weaknesses about these teams. But my big question was, which coach makes the least mistakes? Because there's no question about these teams that they're full of talent. Young, old, offensively, defensively. Like they're both pretty well-rounded squads, but they arguably have the two worst game management coaches. And it shows up every single time, even that they play each other. So to me, the team that wins will be the coach that just manages the game better.
Well, that won't be Raheem Morris. So if that's what it comes down to, if that's what it comes down to, Todd Bowles will make one less awful decision than Raheem Morris. I have zero faith in that guy. Zero. I hate that guy.
I don't have a lot of faith in Todd Bowles, but I think I happen to have a little bit more faith in like at least the experience of the Buccaneers team. Like Baker Mayfield's been there enough. Mike Evans has been there enough. Like they're not going to make a bunch of big clock issues, but Penix is still super green. So I definitely could see that being a contributing factor as well. If Kirko was out there, it might be different, but he's not. But my pick that I liked was Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I feel pretty comfortable in this game. Baker Mayfield will air it out because all things considered, even though they have a pretty good personnel group in the secondary, I still think that with Godwin out, I like having Mike Evans, having the weapons they have, having a Emeka Egbuka, they're good for 2 touchdowns at least in the passing game.
Agreed. Yeah, and even like if Bucky has one, it could be just as easily through the air as it is on the ground because of how Bucky's been involved as a pass catcher in this offense. So I like that a lot, especially because this is a game that has one of the highest projected over-unders of the entire week. I think it's tied for like third highest. Okay. I think the Bills and Ravens are highest at 50.5. And then we have the Bengals and the Browns at 48.5. Okay.
Really?
And then
it never is when they play each other.
Yeah, that's weird. But then the Bucks and the Falcons are tied for 47.5. But yeah, I think Baker's similar to last year, could throw for a lot of touchdowns, be that high octane passer. So I like that one a lot.
Awesome. Well, I overall did choose the Buccaneers to win this game. Kind of like you said, maybe a little bit more faith in Todd Bowles than Raheem Morris to just not make all the dumb decisions they possibly can. and having the experience of Baker Mayfield. And I think maybe a slightly better defense in Tampa. I think they're the better team, and I think they win the game.
I agree. I also have the Bucs. We will eventually in this podcast have a differing opinion on the winners at some point. Hopefully.
Maybe.
maybe not.
we didn't talk about this. Like, these were not discussed whatsoever. But so far, I mean, I feel like it's been, aside from maybe like the Raiders and Patriots, I feel like these have been fairly chalky-ish.
Yeah.
So I think there's some closer games to come. And one that people have kind of struggled with a little bit was the Dolphins versus the Colts. And my main question was, what version of Tua, Achane, Waddle, and Tyreek are we getting? Like, is this new like CTE ridden like right wing Tua? Is it cap strain Achane? Is it last year's Waddle? Is it like just whatever is happening the new AB and Tyreek? Like, if all those things are happening, I'm picking the Colts. But I have faith that at least like 2 of those 4 can kind of come back to normal and win this game, because if that's the case, I trust the front 7 of the Dolphins enough. Like, I think that they have a really good front 7. I love the interior offensive line. They just got to get like 2 of those guys to go. Even if it's Achane and Waddle, like, those guys are explosive enough to win you a game. It's just, please, like, somebody step up. They're not even that old. None of them are.
It's literally like Devon Achane is on TikTok live, just like staring into the camera.
What happened to him? He's supposed to be the least mentally messed up of all of those guys.
He literally was like death staring.
Like Tua just turned to politics. Tyreek just turned to crime, and Achane hasn't really done anything wrong, except just stand there blankly, like that kid from Over the Western Front, like the movie where he's just standing there after seeing his friends all die. Like, that's how Achane looked. It was weird, really weird.
Insert Devon Achane in the 1,000-yard stare meme. That's just literally what it was.
Yeah, but if he gets 1,000 yards rushing, that would be great. But
well,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, that's the way I was thinking about it. It's like, if we get some sort of hint of, prior Dolphins football, then they should win this game. But that's where I guess we may ultimately end up differing, because I just don't trust it. I think there's deep rooted corruption in this organization, in this offense. There's stability issues, trust issues with the players, with each other, and the relationships. And who knows if the players like the fact that their head coach is like a 15-year-old looking vapor, like, the guy that vapes. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of like perception problems going on. It's so much that cannot be literally quantified that I am contributing to their downfall. So yeah, I mean, it would be great to see it back to form, but it feels like those days are a thing of the past.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tua's coming in angry. I mean, the new ownership of the Colts is 3 women, so I think he's gonna have a really hard time letting a bunch of women beat him. So he's gonna really step up. But yeah, I still have the Dolphins winning, but it's tricky because they're a better looking football team to me. Like, they have a quarterback that's not named Daniel Jones. They have a good running back. They have good weapons. Their offensive line's not that bad, and aside from corner, they actually do genuinely have a good defense. Like, I think people have really kind of over dramatized that. I think they have a good defense on paper, but I did pick Josh Downs as, if you need help in fantasy this year or this game, start Josh Downs, because the Dolphins are starting Jason Marshall Jr. in the slot. So I definitely would think about putting Josh Downs in there if you need any help, because there's no shot Jason Marshall Jr., the rookie, like the 5th round rookie out of Florida, is touching Josh Downs. So that's my slot in for the if you're like a 2 flex play and you hate your rookie that's in there right now, put Josh Downs in. It'll be good.
Talk about hydrogen bomb versus popping baby. Josh Downs is probably one of the most difficult slot receivers to try and keep up with. And poor 5th round rookie whoever the fuck you just said is not going to have a chance. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, Jason Marshall Jr. is doing nothing to Josh Downs. There's no shot.
Well, I figure, like you said, you have the Dolphins winning. This will be our first difference.
There you go.
I did take the Colts. Would it behoove you is that the right word? Would it blow your mind to hear that the Colts are actually favored in this game?
Not really. No. I mean, they're not a bad football team all around. It just comes down to quarterback. And I mean, I know you are a little higher on Daniel Jones than the populace might be, but I don't know. Like, I do think this is the game that he has a chance to not be exploited because he's facing such a bad corner room. Like, maybe he can just toss it up to Alec Pierce and AD Mitchell and Michael Pittman and, you know, hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in the NFL, or Tyler Warren. Like, there are the weapons to get this done. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think the world of Indianapolis is secondary either. So I do think that Tyreek and Waddle and Darren Waller could get going.
It's possible. The only thing that fucking scares the shit out of me is that the Colts are like 0-11 in their last 11 season openers.
Wow. Yeah. Like that does kind of matter, I feel like.
But the dilemma I have is if I know for a fact if I follow in line with that trend, they'll win. But if I choose them to win, they're going to lose. So I lose here no matter what. But I think this just feels like you said, the matchup that matters most here is going to be Daniel Jones and his weapons versus the skill position players on the Dolphins defense. And it feels like, you know, barring Miami being Miami again, that they could edge them. They could edge them out in the long run.
You're gonna do what? All right. Well, speaking of another team that kind of struggles in season openers, you have the Bengals and the Browns, and like kind of how the games have gone recently. Like, this would definitely favor the Bengals, but a lot of people are more scared of the Bengals defense this season than last season. And I think if we were projecting this game in week 7, it would be a lot different than if we were projecting it week 1, because the Bengals just struggle week 1 every year. But this is the first time in history that Joe Burrow is starting a season healthy. And this is the first time he has had an off season where he was able to practice with his team. So this is that's why my question was, can healthy Burrow finally help the Bengals start off hot? And I do think so. Like, I think that what he did to the Eagles was a good testament to that. Like, him and Jamar is child's play. Like, it legitimately looks like they are just playing with kids.
Yeah. I mean, if this isn't the year that they can start off on the right foot, then it's never going to happen. It's just not fate for them to start off.
Some teams just do that.
Yeah. Some teams just aren't capable of, you know, dusting the cobwebs off in the early part of the season. So I guess we'll figure out if that's the case with Cincinnati. But if there was an opportunity for them to blow the roof off in the first week and make everyone think, oh my God, maybe they are Super Bowl contenders this year, this is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah. And I struggled with it because, I mean, if the defense is as bad as it was in preseason, like, weirdly enough, actually still wasn't worse than the Panthers were last year. Like, their from a yards allowed perspective, the Bengals preseason defense was not worse than the Panthers were last year, and they still won 5 games. So when you have a defense that I think will be better than that, I mean, it was preseason. I think it just comes down to, do you trust the Browns to win a shootout? Like, that's what it comes down to. The Bengals can turn literally any game into a shootout. They don't get blown out very often. So it kind of comes down to, do you trust Flacco and company to win a straight up shootout against Joe Burrow, Jamar, T. Higgins and company? I can't quite get there, especially because of the lack of running backs that Cleveland has. When I was trying to think about like the path for victory for Cleveland, I was like, they could win if they could just pound the ball, control the clock, kind of win how the Patriots did one last year where Ramondre ran the ball like 30 times. But I don't think Jerome Ford's doing that. Like, he's never moved against the Bengals. I don't think Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins, if he's even playing. Like, I don't think they're doing it. So I did overall pick the Bengals to win, and I usually don't week 1.
I think everyone gun to their head picks the Bengals to win this game. I am kind of shocked that the line is only favoring the Bengals by 5.5 points, but I guess that's a testament to what people think about Joe Flacco being the starter now, and the defense of Cincinnati. But I still don't think it's going to make a difference, especially if we see any shades of that glimpse of preseason that we got from that offense. It could get ugly pretty damn fast.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a perfectly executed game. Like, you couldn't have really a lot of missed throws because the Bengals aren't really going to miss throws. Like, they're going to make plays. So you basically, like, to beat them, you have to just make more plays than they do. And I just don't see the Browns being a team of all teams to get that done. But I still did take David Njoku as an anytime touchdown scorer. He has just been the Bengals kryptonite forever, especially with Flacco. Like, of anybody, like it's never been Judy. It's never really been the running backs that much. It's always just been Njoku. Like, he's the guy that moves the football if anybody does. Especially with Flacco. Like, I'm taking David Njoku anytime touchdown in most games because I feel like he's going to have an awesome season this year. So, especially against the brand new Bengals linebacker core, I'll take David Njoku anytime touchdown.
And Flacco's the kind of guy that will let it rip into coverage to a big body. So I like that a lot. And Njoku is a top 5 tight end in football. I think I said that once before. I believe it. Very talented receiver. Go get your 6 points, big guy. I have Joe Flacco, David Njoku, I'm sorry, in a few leagues, including my guillotine league, in which I was too drunk to draft for, and now I have like 4 tight ends. So,
well, at least you have a good one.
And at least I have Njoku, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have the Bengals winning. I don't think I need to preface that.
Yeah. All right. Well, now I think it is your turn to go over the games that you kind of studied for and you found some cool lines and stuff for.
Yes. So to pick up the rest of the 1 p.m. slate, the Giants and the Commanders. This is an intriguing one for a lot of reasons. And my headlining question for this game was, can the Giants' new and improved defensive front wreck the game for the Commanders' offense?
I think they can. And like not a prediction or anything, but hell yeah, like when you have those pass rushers and that interior D line against who, like Chris Rodriguez and RB4 Bill Krosky Merritt, like hell yeah, like you definitely can make a splash and they can make this game dirty. Like they can make it a real dirty game.
I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be passing a lot more than Cliff Kingsbury and company want him to be passing. I think he's going to be put in a lot of high pressure situations very quickly, just for the simple fact that he's not going to have much help up front or from his run game. He's somebody that will answer the bell, but bottom line is this is probably, as crazy as it sounds, one of the tougher defenses they will face all season, and they have to see him twice. So, man, I do have the Giants winning this game. I did it. I have the balls to take them. I don't even think the Commanders have an answer for Malik Neighbors either. That's the other thing.
I don't think they have much of one. I think just double teaming and then making it like a Wan'Dale Robinson versus whoever kind of game versus Mike Sainristil kind of game. I definitely think the Giants will struggle to move the ball, rushing wise, especially. Like I think that the Commanders' front is still pretty solid, but I think it'll be a dirty game, and I think that just the team with the better quarterback can come out on top in those kind of games. But dude, when you have Dexter Lawrence down there and you pair him with Abdul Carter, like it's nasty. Come on, Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke. Then they brought in guys like Javon Holland to kind of back them up in the secondary. Like this could be a top 5 defense in the NFL, and like that's kind of nuts.
I agree.
Dude, Dexter Lawrence could also win Defensive Player of the Year. Like, if he does, we need to get him a better nickname than Sexy Dexy. Like, that's lame.
That's the kind of nickname that like you give to Christian Wilkins, but now he's kind of weird, and like no one wants to associate with that guy. Even though like
if we
are beating women and they're getting signed, and
yeah,
Christian Wilkins kisses his teammates, and now he's been exiled from the NFL.
Not Dexter Lawrence. People love him. I'm gonna start calling him the Dirty Bubble. I think that's a good nickname for him.
Which one, Wilkins or Lawrence?
Probably Lawrence, because he just like swallows everybody in his big hole. But
I like that. Yeah, so I do have, like I said, I have the Giants winning, and to keep it straightforward, the Giants are 6.5-point underdogs. I'm just going to take plus 6.5. I mean, if they're going to win the game, they're gonna easily cover the spread then. So I kept it simple.
Yeah, I think they'll make it dirty. It'll be a dirty game.
Yes, it will.
With a dirty bubble.
Week 1 divisional matchup, like it just is. It's just all the makings for an upset.
I know, that's why I hate the Browns playing the Bengals. Like, why couldn't we have got like the Panthers? Like, I feel way more confident we're beating the Panthers.
Well, I wonder if Jacksonville fans can say the same, because that's the next game we'll talk about. The Jaguars, the Jaguars and the Panthers. Does Bryce Young and company pick up on their 2024 momentum or start off on the wrong foot like last year?
Well, I mean, I think one of the best secondaries to try and do it against is Jacksonville, with a new coach and pretty questionable secondary pieces, especially if Travis Hunter isn't like a full-time secondary person. So definitely, I think predictive wise, this could be a good Ted McMillan game. I don't think that the pass rush I think could be a good counter, but I think that we will see some success from Bryce Young in this game. But to counter that, I think that you can also see a lot of success from Trevor Lawrence in this game as well.
Absolutely. I think if there was a game that could end up having a lot of points, it's this one. I don't trust either secondary to make a play. I don't trust them to slow down or really stump these opposing quarterbacks too much. But I do think ultimately I trust the Jaguars to come out on top in this game. There was a quote that came out about Liam Cohen from an NFC coordinator talking about Liam Cohen. I don't know if you saw that floating around or not, but basically just giving him so much praise about how he coordinates the game, and not just like the play calls with the scheme, but the sequence of plays that he was throwing at coordinators. It's a chess match for these coaches, and he got a lot of praise. And I think that just goes to show, why he was hired 1 year out of being a coordinator. So with Lawrence, with Travis, who's projected to play BTJ, and whoever they trot out there, running back is going to be talented. So they should just be able to score more points, make more plays.
Agreed. So I did have Jacksonville winning this game. I think it'll be a shootout. I think it'll be an awesome game. I think that you can see a lot of running back action, but I do think that just Jacksonville in general is the better game, is the better team. Like, stopping Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter in the same game, I don't think they have enough bodies to do that.
No, I agree. My bet for this game, my best bet was Chuba Hubbard over 13.5 rush attempts, though. If they do if the Panthers offense starts in any sort of rut, I think they will happily lean on Chuba just like they did last year. I think they would have done the same thing starting last season if they knew Chuba was as good as he was, if they knew that he was going to be the running back he turned out to be for the rest of the season. And the Jaguars' rush defense is not much better than their pass defense. So I think they'll happily just run the rock and flow their offense through Hubbard. So 13.5 seemed oddly low. So I'll take the over on that.
It is definitely pretty low. I think even if they're not winning, I think that Chuba Hubbard will find his way to 15 carries pretty comfortably. Unless, Vegas thinks that Rico Dowdle is really going to get in there and take a bunch of stuff. But we've talked about it before. I think his lack of free agency market and the lack of desire for Dallas to bring him back, who was in such a bad running back situation already, I don't think that Rico Dowdle is really drawing much of a market. So I doubt he really takes a bunch from Chuba Hubbard, who they just paid through the roof. Not happening.
Agreed. Well, that brings us to Tennessee and Denver. The question for this game is, can Tennessee establish any sort of ground presence to take literal and figurative pressure off of their rookie quarterback?
I think they're going to try like hell, though. Like, if I had to pick somebody in fantasy, I might throw a Tony Pollard flyer out there because, the Broncos do have a good run defense, like especially bringing in guys like Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga. Like, I think that does fill a hole that they needed, because that is like Zach Allen's like one big issue is run defense. So it's definitely pretty possible. I think they're going to try. for sure. I can't give you the numbers on the efficiency or the amount of big plays and touchdowns they get, but I definitely do think that you have a point and that there will be an emphasis on not making Cam Ward air it out against the best secondary in the NFL to start off his career. Like, can you imagine that? That's like the equivalent of Arch Manning going against Ohio State,
Yeah.
like week 1. Like, yeah, you might look bad, but also you were kind of set up to fail because you're playing the best defense in the country. So I feel bad for Cam Ward in this game, but I do agree with you. I think they'll definitely try, but not sure how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go well. I have some efficiency numbers to speak to that. I mean, the Titans were the 29th ranked rushing attack last year. They added Kevin Zeitler at age 35, Dan Moore,
Hooray.
and and they're going to try with Pollard, but Tony Pizza, I don't think he's going to break any big ones off. So, and this
He'll try though.
He'll try. Like you said, he'll try like hell.
I mean, I just don't believe in like having someone like Dan Moore going out and lead blocking for me. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Especially in a game that's just going to be so just mean and hostile. Like, I'd be shocked if the Titans got to 17 points in this game. So
yes, I would too.
With that said, though, I opted to take some potential points for a player on the other team, and I went with my bet being J.K. Dobbins anytime touchdown. The Broncos are projected to score 25.5 points. I think their team total is, and the over is favored. So Vegas thinks they're going to score a lot. They're also projected to win by over 7.5 points. I don't know what the backfield split will ultimately look like, but one thing I do know is that Dobbins is like the only back over there that will definitively be taking the short yardage and goal line work. So I think this is something that could hit on the first drive without even needing that much volume, hypothetically. So I feel safe with this one.
I think they both score. I think they'll beat the shit out of them, and I think they're both going to score.
Very easily good.
I think they'll get to a point where they're winning by so much that they feel comfortable letting RJ Harvey loose. And I think this is really good for his development because I've never been crazy high on him, but I think he's such a perfect fit for this offense. I think it would be a shame to reach on him that high and then just run J.K. Dobbins into the ground. I think they got J.K. Dobbins not to be a starter, but just to be a complementary piece to Harvey. And I think they both score, man. I think that this is just going to be a boat race for Denver, and I don't know if the Titans get that many first downs. Honestly, like, it's just like a rookie quarterback almost always sucks in their first game, especially when they're as raw as Cam Ward is going against arguably the best defense in the country. No bueno.
No,
I would not watch this as a Titans fan.
I shield your eyes.
Yeah, week 1 starts next week. This is not a game. This is a scrimmage. There are 16 games in our schedule.
Well, I participate in the Survivor pool, and Denver is my pick for the week of Survivor.
Whoever's playing the Saints or the Titans, you can kind of just swap them out usually.
That was the plan. I'm like sitting there thinking, the Saints suck, but I don't trust the Cardinals to come out of there scot free.
No, they can mess up.
Yes, they can. They can fuck me over big time. So I'll trust the Broncos to do it. Sean Payton runs a tight ship over there.
It does.
What about the Rams and the Houston game? This is going to be an interesting one. And my question for it is, will the Texans offensive line prove to be as bad as everyone is projecting it to be?
I think so, man. I think so. And again, there couldn't be like a worse matchup to go against than the Rams' hyper-aggressive, hyper-athletic pass rush from literally 4 different spots. Like interior, they have Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk. Outside, they have Byron Young and like Jared Verse, and they brought in some other guys. Like, I don't feel good about it at all. And I think that the same can be said for Houston's pass rush. I think that they could find a lot of success in this game against a hobbled Stafford. But I trust someone like Stafford to like understand what's coming, get the ball out quick with a nice crispy little sidearm. Like, I don't trust Stroud to get the ball out quick. I think he's awesome but his biggest crutch is just taking sacks, even if there was good protection. So now that there's even worse protection against a really good pass rush, I don't love his odds to like be super comfortable back there.
I agree. Like you hit the nail on the head. In terms of like unit versus unit matchups for this week, this is by far the worst one. Like by a mile. Like this is like the Rams defensive front. Every time we talk about this group, I try to think of a way to like visualize what they are in my mind. It's like an the Rams, yeah.
I think of like the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park. You know how there's like a team of like 6 of them and they just send them after people? Like that's kind of how I think of it. Like none of them are that big, none of them are that like none of them are even like that elite of prospects, like aside from maybe Verse. Like they're just really perfectly tailored and they're super fast and aggressive. They all hit super hard. Like they're just a scary bunch. Like neither of them individually really like strike a bunch of terror into me. But as a unit, as a group, they work together so well. Their stunts are so fast and aggressive. Like I would hate playing against that front.
Yeah, it's like an industrial power plant of pressure, just like getting pumped out of the steam stacks every single second. Pressure, 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 and the Texans offensive line is like the hamster wheel trying to power this entire fucking town, and it's just like the lights aren't on. The nobody has internet, no one has anything because the hamster can't keep up, and like it just is going to be so bad.
The hamster's Ariante Ursery.
Yes, literally.
They're gonna put him in like it's like the hamster from like that Kia commercial a while ago. Like it's not gonna be good.
No,
and poor Ariante Ursery. They're gonna target him. Yes. Like they are going to be sending double pressure his way. They're going to be sending linebackers off the edge, corners off the edge, make him think. Like what a bad way to start your career is having just to think a bunch. Because they keep sending stunts and he keeps sending different angles at you that you've never seen before. He might have an ugly loss or two. It might not be great.
Yeah, I even if, like you said, both defenses do their part, I just don't think the Texans will be able to make as many plays, bottom line. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. I think this game is going to be one of the best ones to watch because there's just so much
100%.
talent on both sides of the ball. But, yeah, I mean, whether or not Matthew Stafford's imposter can get the job done, I guess.
Dude, he looks good, though. Like, he looks – it's like that guy on TikTok that impersonates Aaron Rodgers really well. Yes. I think they found a good one for Stafford, but he's a lot bigger. So that was good. But I do think, similar to the Bengals game, though, the Texans can make any game a shootout. When you have Nico Collins, now Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, they invested into that receiver room for a reason. Like your Lord Nick Caserio made the decision to punt on the offensive line. That in fact get rid of some to expand their weapon room. But they do have no Joe Mixon. It'll be like Woody Marks in a hobbled Nick Chubb. So I think they're just going to have a hard time moving this football.
Yeah, the only saving grace might be if the Texans can hit a couple of big plays quick and maybe strike some fear in the Rams' defensive secondary early on. And that was where my bet ended up going because the Rams were prone to giving up some big plays in 2024. I think they ranked in the bottom third of big play percentage allowed. And I went with Nico Collins over, I think it was 76 and a half receiving yards. Like he's another guy that can have a bomb for 50 and then see 3 targets on the next drive and he's clearing that easily. So, and they I don't know, Jaden Higgins, I think comes along, but right away, I don't know if I trust that. Christian Kirk, who knows what Christian Kirk is right now. They don't have a run. I don't project them to have much of a run game in this one. So it's just going to have to be Stroud and Nico playing Rodgers Adams football for them to even have a chance.
Yeah. So it's a good point.
I assume you have the Rams winning then.
I have the Rams winning a very close one because I do think that there will be enough of those terrifying Nico Collins beating Cole Bishop kind of plays,
okay, all right.
I think there'll be enough of those, but still, I just don't think that there's I think Kyron Williams can establish a run game. You have guys like Puka and Devontae Adams to kind of spread the wealth to. The offensive line can hold up. I just don't trust the run game of the Texans to be able to control this game. Even if they can come away with it early, I don't think that they can control the game through the ground. I think they'll have to be throwing the ball the whole game. And the Rams have the advantage there where they can run the ball out.
Absolutely. And I think I trust the Rams on another team that do a great job of extending their run game through the air. And I don't think the Texans have that ability nearly as much. Well, we'll move on to the 49ers and Seahawks. And my question here is very simple. Can the 49ers offense outpace the Kubiak attack? I don't know. I don't know. I think similar to the Raiders and how I felt about their performance to start the preseason, I have that stuck in my mind. And I also have the Kubiak scheme working very well early for the Seahawks and seeing how scary it could be at its ceiling stuck in my mind too. So when I first asked this question, I'm like, I don't know. But I think I feel safer projecting some struggles before I assume that, we see that product right off the bat, especially against a defense that might not be great on paper, but one that Robert Saleh has gotten a lot out of in his previous tenure. And I trust that he can find a way to do that again.
Yeah, I do think that 49ers fans, they see Saleh coming back and they're like, oh my God, we're back. Defense is back. But I do think that part of what made the Saleh defense was so great was there were 7 dudes in that room. On the front 7, you had 7. It wasn't 3 guys that were pretty good and then 4 more. It was 7 dudes in a good secondary. And right now it is 2 dudes and kind of relying on them to do all the heavy lifting in Warner and Bosa. So I do think that we will see defensive downgrades compared to previous Saleh years, but he gives you a floor. And as much as I love everything about the Seahawks, I think that their defense is going to be a top tier unit this year. They're just so new. And I do think it takes a beat. You have some growing pains, and Sam Darnold just might not come fully to form just yet. Unless Ken Walker and company can really, really get going and take over this game, I'm not so sure the Seahawks offense has enough juice to really keep up with the 49ers, especially if Jawan Jennings, some reports have said that he might play this game. You got Slick Rick, Ricky Pearsall, and George Kittle, the best tight end in football. It's a tough matchup to keep up with. So I think I got the 49ers just narrowly beating them in this game.
Yeah, I also have the 49ers coming out on top in this one. They're only 2.5-point favorites, and I think that's pretty fair. I think this is a divisional week 1 game, and like you said, it's going to be close. 2 offenses that can be very efficient at their best, and we'll see. I think, like I said earlier in the offseason or earlier, let me start over. A couple weeks ago, actually, I think I said something to the effect of Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan are like a match made in heaven, and I think that will just stress out the Seahawks defense more than really any other running back will or player that they see will all season. And it's just going to be too much for any defense, not just Seattle. So,
yeah.
And like you said, with Jawan Jennings, he is projected to play and he is sitting at 49.5 receiving yards. And I'll happily take that over because I think the 49ers are going to pass a lot. And in the final 7 games of last year, understandably, it was without McCaffrey, but Ayuk was out then. Debo was still there, and he's gone now. He was the leading target share receiver for the 49ers with 25.6% of targets going his way. Kittle being at 19% and Pearsall only at 13.5%. And that's basically the field right now. So I think Jennings could be sliding right into that big Shanahan number 1 target spot. And we know how those guys eat. Those guys will feast. And it's like, what the hell were we all thinking? Why didn't we see this coming kind of thing? So Jawan could have a pretty big week right off the bat.
Yeah.
That leaves us with Detroit and Green Bay. This is more of an individual player question, and there is no way to definitively answer it other than just kind of giving it your best gut shot. And that's, is Aiden Hutchinson going to be that force that he was last year in week 1?
Probably not. Um, he was. I mean, I've heard a lot of good talks about him. I mean, a lot of people have talked about it. He's basically said his whole body is like mechanical now at this point. He says he doesn't want anything more mechanical in him anymore. Um, but I don't know. I do think there was, to a point, a lot of his best football was against really bad tackles. Like, he dominated some really bad backup tackles and got some really big numbers. And I think he's great. But coming off of the season that he had with the horrific injury he had, I think that there will be literal growing pains, like as he grows his bone back together more. Especially when you're going against someone like Zach Tom, who is one of the better tackles in the NFL, and still a fairly stable presence in Rasheed Walker. I think that LaFleur is smart enough not to just let Love sit back there and get teed off on by Aiden Hutchinson. Like, I think the ball will be out quick. I think they'll run the ball a ton. I think that they will be better prepared to move the ball than Detroit will be, which is part of my concern for them was just their growing pains of having a fully new coaching staff aside from your head coach. Like, there's a lot of new stuff, and they didn't really upgrade hardly anywhere. It's just kind of stayed the same or got a little worse. Whereas Green Bay, you saw some serious upgrades in a few spots, so it's a little bit more exciting for them.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, other than maybe like Isaac Tesla over Tim Patrick, I think they downgraded
Maybe,
everywhere, literally.
yeah. I mean, like, legitimately, they're the same at quarterback, running back, tight end. Interior D line. They actually lost an interior D lineman. They lost offensive linemen. Their corner room got maybe better with DJ Reed, but aside from that, man, like, it's the same squad without Ben Johnson. Like, I don't know.
It's
I'm
gonna
not
be,
super happy about it if I'm a Lions fan, but
yeah.
especially seeing all the hype that the Packers are getting. So I do think there are genuine worries about this game for them.
There are, and I think this is going to be a good measuring stick early in their season to determine what we really see from Detroit. Because at the end of the day, I think this is one of those teams that we've seen them start strong before, and I think if they start strong, we'll probably be looking at what version of the Lions we see going forward. And against a team that's in their division, another divisional game, they clearly do this on purpose. If they're able to come out and, give the Packers a fight, especially if Micah Parsons plays, that's also up in the air. But this is suddenly a team that's been vaulted into Super Bowl conversation. If the Lions can kind of knock them on their toes and kind of remind everyone that they're still one of the better teams in the NFC, I think this will be the game to kind of do that. And ultimately, I do have them coming out on top just for the simple fact that I trust that the talent of Jahmyr Gibbs and the guys up front will just ultimately bring them home. I mean, it really just is Jahmyr Gibbs, and hopefully an escalated role this year will be just so much to handle for anybody, defensively speaking.
I do agree. I do really like some of the pieces that the Packers defense has, even with guys like Edgerrin Cooper and Rashawn Gary. Like, I do think that they still can put together a good enough, well-rounded defense to kind of stifle some of the really fun, electric stuff that Detroit's been doing for the last few years. But it's definitely close. I think I picked the Packers. I think Micah Parsons sets me over the edge for that one. And the loss of the interior offensive line, I think, does hurt the Detroit rushing offense a little bit. And just enough for, I think, Green Bay just to outcoach Detroit in this game. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is just decision making and getting the best of them through scheme.
Yeah, I don't think that's off base really much at all. I mean, you should, in theory, the Packers should probably be the better team in this game, especially if Micah Parsons plays. So, but my best bet for this game is going to be Sam Laporta over 40.5 rushing yards. So I haven't talked about him much, but I think this is going to be, I think this year we see a more simplistic approach from Detroit, and I think it probably will lead to just as simple as getting the ball in the hands of your best players. And I think that's what they'll do with Gibbs. I think he'll see a lot more receiving work this year. I think the same will go for Laporta. He'll see more opportunities through the air because outside of, Amon-Ra, I wouldn't strike Jameson as somebody that will be a target hog. And I think Sam Laporta will return to that form. And he's another big play guy. We saw a few times last year where, he's having catch and runs go for, 25 plus yards. So Laporta reminds everybody he still is alive.
Yeah. I think that'd be awesome. I mean, I think this offense is still built to be traditional. Like you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, still could be a traditional slot Z kind of guy. I think Jameson Williams is a legitimately good route runner. I just think that the value he brought as a field stretcher for that offense with the Ben Johnson offense on play action shots was too good to pass up. But I think if you ask him to run a full route tree, I think he can run all 9 and do it well. And same with Sam Laporta. I think he's done very well in this like gimmicky play action, leak into the flat, be wide open into the end zone all the time. But I do think that he still does possess the ability to be a good, just traditional TJ Hawkinson kind of like, run to the sticks, turn around and catch the ball kind of tight end. And I think that there is a good chance he does do that in this game.
Yeah, and if this offense is going to become more simplistic and Goff is going to be dropping back and getting the ball out fast behind what could be a slightly more problematic offensive line, I think he starts to crutch on Laporta a lot more in short yardage. So that'll be a good one, though. That could be the best game of the weekend, potentially.
Absolutely.
But Sunday night also has potential to be that exactly. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. And the question that I highlighted here was, can the Bills take advantage of the Ravens' unknown guard situation? And my answer was no.
Yeah, I just don't know if they got the dudes for that. You know what I mean? Like, I love Ed Oliver. I think that he could be a dude for that. But I think when you also have stable presences at tackle and, a center that could be the best center in the league here soon. And then you also have, possibly the most untouchable person in the NFL at quarterback. Like you can't touch him. Like in open space, he is untouchable. So I don't know if even, some internal pressure would really make a crazy difference in this game. It just comes down to just decision making. But I think it more also comes down to just being able to stop Derrick Henry, in which they did a good job of in the playoffs. And that's partially why a good bit of why they won is just stuffing him over and over and over again. So I think that's really their biggest, bet to victory is just making this a big just passing game for the Ravens. But if they let the ball run, if they let play action open up, if they let Lamar get out, they lose contain, it could get ugly. So I definitely think it'll be important to just make it a dirty, ugly game.
I think come postseason time, I'll feel a little bit better about the revamped defensive front. But week 1, poor TJ Sanders and Deion Walker are going to get thrown to the literal wolves. And they're not going to see like 50% of snaps or anything crazy like that. But, I think the 30 to 35% of snaps that they do see, they're going to really have a hard time. So it just is not great, the matchup, whether they were, up to speed or not. The Bills struggle to stop the big plays. Derrick Henry and Lamar are big play maniacs. And the other thing for Buffalo is they're dealing with cornerback injuries. Harrison's out. Trey White's leaning toward not playing. So that's going to leave either Jamarcus Ingram, Dane Jackson, or Dorian Strong.
Two Buffalo alums. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. So, we're kind of cooked. That's kind of the basis of what I'm getting at here. Even though the Ravens could be without Pat Ricard and Isaiah Likely, I just don't think it will make that.
Ricard could be a problem. I think that he's a pretty underrated piece to them, but something that they didn't have in the playoffs last season was Zay Flowers, who does have the crazy dynamic ability to turn any game on its head because he is still by far the best receiver on that team.
Yeah, it's like a Spitfire.
Dude, he is. Like, if he gets out in space, especially against a secondary with dealing with as many injuries as they have, I think someone like Maxwell Harrison would be like the best counter to that. Just speed on speed, change of direction on change of direction. But I don't love guys like Dorian Strong or even guys like Christian Benford. Like, that's just not his game, to just trying to be catching this tiny little squirrel in a bottle. Like, that's really hard to do. And it's much different than being a very traditional cover corner like Benford is. Like, he's very good at it, but trying to handle a little guy like that that's just changing directions over and over and over again. Like, Sauce Gardner says the hardest corner he ever tried to cover was Calvin Austin, just because he's so like tiny and fast and quick. Like, he's a big corner. It's just not his game. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing. Like, Zay Flowers could cause some problems.
He could, and I think he will. I think the Bills just flat out struggle. I think I've become so pessimistic on their outlook in the past couple of weeks, unfortunately.
But
and
man, like,
I just don't. Josh Allen's great, but I just don't trust it.
But to me, Josh Allen can do so much. And he can carry as much as he can on the ground, but ultimately he has to go deliver some passes. And I think that he can do a really good job of putting the ball on the receiver, but ultimately they're facing a possible all-time level secondary here with possibly, a bottom tier receiving group in the NFL. So it kind of just comes down to, like, can literally anybody get open? And if not, it's going to be, can James Cook and Josh Allen just pound the ball enough? I trust the Ravens front seven to kind of stifle them as much as they possibly can. I think Roquan Smith's good enough at that. I just think this is a tough matchup for the Bills. I love the Bills. I think they can be a 13, 14 win team game. Just, I think the Ravens are just possibly the best team in the league. So I lean them.
Agreed.
It's not like a Bills fault. It's just like I think the Ravens I picked them over any team in the NFL. So that's just kind of why I picked them.
Well, I think another thing too is the Ravens, there's a lot more continuity going on with Baltimore. Like, the changes really are just with their left guard. And adding Jair, which is just an upgrade more than anything else. So
yeah, it's just not Brandon Stevens.
Right. which could not possibly be a bad thing. Whereas the Bills are just, they're going through a lot with their guys up front on the D line, and they brought in a few new receivers, and it just is there's going to be a learning curve there too. It's just, there's not a lot that makes me lean into Buffalo here. And, I kept it simple. I have the Ravens -1.5. This might be one of my most confident bets of the entire weekend. Like, I'd be shocked if the Ravens don't get their revenge here, which is also part of my bet.
And when they played in the regular season last year, the Ravens definitely got the good part of the Bills, and it was pretty ugly at a certain point. So I do think that this game has a chance of looking a little bit more similar to that than the playoff game in the elements in a high pressure environment. I think in a normal warm weather game, I think the Ravens take them.
Yep, agreed. Well, that brings us to our final game on the slate. The Vikings. What the fuck was that? The Vikings.
I love this game.
And the Bears. This is going to be fun. And my question was, who will outshine the other in their new role, quote unquote? McCarthy or Williams?
I think Caleb does. And that's not to say the team does, but I think, man, I mean, I know he was playing Cole Bishop in the preseason, but he looked crispy, didn't he? Like, he looked like a different Caleb. Like, the ball was out as he was at the back step of his drop. And I think that we've talked about it enough with McCarthy. It's just, who the hell knows? You know what I mean? Like, we have no idea what he is. We don't even know if Justin Jefferson's going to be fully healthy at all. Jordan Addison's not even allowed to play because he's stupid. And we don't know how TJ Hawkinson's coming back. So it could just be a really weird matchup for them. I think they're still trying to glue, whereas I think that, like, the Bears only made upgrades everywhere. Like, they didn't get worse at a single position. So I think Caleb comes in confident, which is really the big thing for him, because when a quarterback starts getting confident, they start getting dangerous. And I think that he is about to start getting confident, so he could be dangerous.
And these are two teams that at least once in their seasonal split always play close. It doesn't matter how bad the Bears are. It's always a close one. Like last year in week 12, the Vikings won in overtime by 3 points. And that was with the treacherous organization that the Bears were at that point. So this year, like you said, there should be more of a rhythm to this Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams offense. And there is just a lot, just of flat out unknowns. And the reason why I highlight the quarterback specifically is because I think, like, pound for pound, unit for unit, these teams are pretty close in talent. They're pretty similar. Like, I think ultimately it will be one of the quarterbacks that makes the difference, that tips it in one team's favor or the other. And I trust that that's Caleb.
Yeah, and they could just win by just the tip. I mean, it could be a really, really close game, and I don't know. I think I just trust the quarterback in Caleb, but the squad in Minnesota just feels better. And the coaching in Minnesota just feels better to bet on. So I did bet on Minnesota winning this game, but would not shock me whatsoever if Caleb found a way to get this game done.
I took the Bears. I stuck to it. And to parlay with that, not literally, but my best bet of this game was Caleb Williams over 218.5 passing yards. The Vikings were the number one defense against the run last year. I don't think, even with like the upgrades to the interior offensive line, that this is going to be a team that really is going to lean on DeAndre Swift in this game, or whoever, Kyle Monangai or Roshan Johnson. I think it's going to be a lot of Caleb Williams just throwing the ball. He might lead the team in rushing for all we know. And
I made that bet. I did bet that DeAndre Swift would not be top 2 in rushing touchdowns on the Bears this season. And the more I look at it, the more I like it.
It could start with this game. I think we'll learn a lot about DeAndre Swift's role this season in the first week. But, you know, the Vikings last year, despite how good they were prone to getting shredded through the air if the opposing quarterback was able to handle the pressure and catch a rhythm. And I think Caleb can do exactly that. And even if they're losing, that just means more passing volume. So
yeah,
I like Caleb to clear that line. But
agreed.
That will wrap it up. I'm so excited. I'm so damn excited.
I'm so excited.
It'll
be a crazy, crazy weekend.
It will.
And my phone, I will be on my phone for like a full straight day.
By the time
checking my lineups and getting really mad at the end of the day.
Yes, get prepared to vegetate and do nothing but rot.
My legs will hurt at the end of it. Yeah, it'll be great.
But as always, if you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share, join our Discord down below. It's super active. It's where all the football talk happens with us, and it's how you can contact us directly, especially at this time of year. And we will see you in episode 61.